All right. Oh man.
So what's up, man? You're not you're not catching me at my freshest as usual.
What constitutes freshest?
Not exhausted.
I'm also exhausted.
Yeah, but that doesn't translate to great content for the folks at home.
You never know. Might get like a
I
third
guess
win.
you might get so tired. You know, it could go the other way. You might be like so tired that you're like delirious.
Yeah.
And that makes you funny.
Well, funny, or you reach some sort of like spiritual height.
Spiritual height.
Mhm.
Yeah. You get loopy.
Yeah, that's what happened to me yesterday. I did like this 10-minute video, and I got a little loopy during it. I don't know why, and I got all kind of like playful. It's kind of weird.
Playful.
Yeah, not
Weren't you
playful.
talking
Just
about like the worst things on earth?
yeah, but I started like just kind of like you know saying it in a kind of playful way. Was I talking about the worst things on earth?
Wasn't it something about like the death of mankind or something?
No.
Is that were you? That's what we usually talk about.
I wasn't talking. It wasn't that kind. It was like just how basically like how we are whenever we pay attention to these like Santa Claus, whatever his name is, and Schmates and all these people. What we're doing is we're actually giving them we're giving the Sitrachar power instead of doing mitzvot. You know.
That's a good point. I had some Jewish stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
For Hanukkah was pretty mind blowing.
Yeah.
And it is probably better if we spend more time, talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to say one thing. There was a headline today
Mm-hmm.
saying that Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky agreed and that the young children should get the schmacks.
Screw these people.
I don't believe a word. Listen,
Same.
Aretz Sheva is finished.
Yeah, they're done. They're done.
It is completely compromised. You cannot believe a word that comes out of Israel at all.
I know.
At all. There's nothing. There's no one. There's only you, honestly.
Yeah.
You're like the only you're the only like journalist that I trust in that whole freaking disaster.
Mm-hmm. That's very funny. That's very, very funny.
Okay, so usually when a big rabbi makes a statement, right?
Yeah.
It's published, right? Like it's on billboards.
There's a psak.
Quoted.
There's a psak. There's a piece of paper that says his thing.
He writes a letter to address the public, right?
Yeah.
I didn't see listen, maybe the folks at home know better, but I didn't see any psak. I didn't even see any words of his quoted in that article.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just a picture of like him sitting with the person that's trying to get an answer from him, from the authority, whatever,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, what are you talking about? What in God's name are you talking about?
Somebody sent me a video of, which is allegedly, obviously I don't know, allegedly Rav Kanievsky's daughter speaking to two other women, and one of the women was trying to talk to her, I think, about like, using basically my brother's treatment protocol.
Yeah, and what did you say about that?
So it was very unclear to me with the video, what they were saying in the video.
Yeah.
But I think the daughter at one point said, if this is true, I don't even know if this is real.
Yeah.
So allegedly the daughter said that ostensibly said that he's like basically not even like fully here, like he's senile basically.
She said that Kanievsky's not here. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I don't know.
So who are they listening to?
True.
What are we talking about? What the hell is this?
I don't know.
You understand what I mean? Like what are we doing? Yeah. What the hell are we doing?
We aren't doing anything. We can't. We have to stop saying that. By the way.
Not we, but what the hell are they doing? What is this? Mazeh, as we say in Hebrew.
it's basically the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, "I've done all that I can. It is now up to you."
Yeah.
Which means that the leadership is, the work of the leader.
Yeah.
The leader did as much as he could. So which means that there is no more leadership except from us.
Yeah.
Except from the individuals themselves. We don't have, look, it just feels like, I don't really know, there could be some secret, tzaddikim, some secret Kabbalists out there on some little unknown cobblestone street, some little old Jerusalem stone arched door in Yerushalayim somewhere that nobody knows about, who has Rosh Chodesh and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like anybody in the public, any public rabbi, it falls into that category. Okay, we don't have leadership. We don't.
Yeah.
That's including Crown Heights.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's so sad.
So telling people to, it's just unthinkable, like it. And if he really said that, if Kanievsky really said that, then it proves that he is not a leader.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense. I don't want to put that on him because where's the psak? Where's a quote from him? Can anybody even give me a quote that's attributed to him?
It's kind of like, habeas corpus, show me the body. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's
How
nothing.
about a video?
Yeah.
How about a video, some audio recording him saying
no, they
those
just
words?
keep publishing text based articles with photos of him talking to someone or a group of people, but there's nothing else. There's nothing else to go by.
God, how long is this going to stretch on? God, how long is this darkness? I don't understand you. I don't understand you.
Yeah, man.
So set up with it.
Yep. And it's like in the face. It's like in your face with this shit, In your face.
Can you please send the Marshmallow Man already? I'm begging you. I mean that. I'm totally not even trying to be funny. Like, send the damn Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby.
Snap everybody out of this shit.
Yeah.
Real quick.
That's hilarious.
I want it to be a Marshmallow Man, a big softie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if he steps on you, you won't even be crushed. You'll just make a little divot in his marshmallowy foot. But still, it'll make an impression, wouldn't it? A giant Marshmallow Man.
Yeah. Oh, man, I don't know. Listen, I was just talking to...
yeah.
No, go on.
No, you were going to say you were just talking.
I was just talking to my mother today, and we were talking about just the whole thing of America and whatever. And there's this kind of very dystopian thought that people have it backwards. They think that America is the head of the fish, and they say when the fish rots, then you're screwed. But then I'm trying to explain it's not America, it's Israel's the head of the fish. How do we know that? But look at the policies that were enacted. They started in Israel. So it's and also we know from the Torah where we know from the Torah that that's the whole thing. So it's they were saying if America falls down, then everything else is screwed. But that can't be the case because we know from the Torah that's not the case.
There's gonna be a couple of twists and turns, my friend.
Okay.
Because you're right, and the Torah is telling the truth. But to figure out who is Israel and who isn't, that's where there's going to be a couple of surprises, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to say my friend. It adds drama.
My friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of obnoxious, but it has drama.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
Yeah. That's hilarious.
I don't even know what but basically, I think probably America is Israel just as much as Israel is Israel.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a minority.
That's what I've been feeling recently when I was there. Right before I came back, I was feeling that. I was this does feel kind of the 51st state. It's very odd. very odd. It's very strange.
I'm not even talking about like who's a puppet of who. That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like I'm not talking about political.
No, I'm not talking about political. I'm talking about like a little bit spiritually. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what it a little bit felt like. That. I don't know how to explain it. That's what I was feeling when I was there. Very odd.
We have to go to understand this feeling. We have to go through the Pesukim in the Navi, which describe what the tribes of Israel are meant to accomplish. Mm-hmm. The descriptions of them and what they're meant to accomplish and who fits into those categories. Like who actually fulfilled those particular things. It wasn't the Jews. In a lot of cases, it wasn't the Jews. We did not possess the gates of our enemies. Yeah. We did not, inhabit the seashores and this and that. All of these statements that, by definition, they're prophecy. They must be fulfilled, and they indeed were fulfilled. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now, things are like overlapped. Yeah. There's things that are linked and interchained. Now, every one of those, even if I'm saying that, let's say some of the Western European nations, right, that the most powerful or the most influential or the aspects of those societies that took the leadership roles were descendants of the tribes of Israel, right? I'm not saying the entire population of every Western European country is the tribes of Israel, but giant portions of the people who live in these countries do descend from the tribes of Israel, and they did in fact take the leadership roles in those societies, and they did in fact fulfill the prophecies which were important to the establishment of, to building the world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To getting the world to a certain point. It wasn't just about like dominating. It was about
for sure.
The tribes are supposed to accomplish certain things on the face of the earth to change the whole situation on earth, to bring the era of Mashiach, to make it possible that Mashiach can come, to prepare the world for that. Yeah. All those geopolitical changes, all the and the history of Western European colonization and all this kind of stuff is checkered.
Yeah.
Okay? Obviously, it's checkered, and it's certainly by far not all good.
Yeah.
Okay? But the way that it's been taught is completely skewed.
Yeah.
Okay? Every time the colonial powers are the bad guys, and every time that everybody that they are colonizing is portrayed as these like peaceful, enlightened beings that you're right. They never cut each other's heads off.
Yeah, and then you watch Apocalypto by Mel Gibson, and you realize like, holy crap, like,
Well, I'm not going to watch anything by Mel Gibson. I don't really trust his
Have you ever seen that movie though?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Yo, I'm telling you, that movie is scarier than any horror movie I've ever seen.
Oh no, I'm sure. No. He takes it the other way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust him because he wants to malign, the natives too much.
Indigenous people. Yeah.
It's never like that.
I know.
The truth is always something in between.
I know. Yep.
He's Gibson is a fundamentalist, racist dude. He is.
He is, yeah.
He's a supremacist.
Yeah.
Like he really does.
As opposed to what we are, which what do you call that? A cultural chauvinist.
That's right.
So what's the difference?
Okay, so you think that, like, for instance, there's a couple of different types of racist. Mm-hmm. In my mind, the way I define a racist, or someone seems racist to me, is when they look at another group of people and see them as essentially inferior.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, their bodies are inferior, their brains are inferior.
Yeah.
Right? Like, almost like a different species. Yeah. Like, look at that. Those guys, they have these inferior characteristics, and we are superior. That's essentially like the Nazis.
Yeah.
Okay? That's racism. Okay?
Yeah.
And then you have that from a I don't know if you can call this a religious, but for instance, like the Nazis, when they looked at Jews, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. It was like we were inferior when it was convenient, but also we were superior when it was convenient.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like we were everything all at once.
Well, yeah, it's like Aish HaTorah. It's like Aish HaTorah. They have a thing. We're socialists, we're communists, we're this, we're that. We're poor, we're rich. It's like this whole. We're hated for every reason. They're all conflicting.
Right. So Jew hatred is very difficult to. You can't really define it.
Yep.
It's just.
It's a spiritual thing, and it doesn't. Yeah.
Right. But so the type of hatred that other groups feel is totally different. Okay, because you can kind of define it. You say, look at all those people. They're uglier and they're stupider.
Yeah.
Right? They're inferior. That's literally how people look at each other. Okay.
Yep.
So, and you got a lot of black people now looking at white people like that.
Yeah.
You got a lot of white people.
That's very funny.
Adopting that and looking at themselves like that.
Yeah.
You understand? It's like. For sure. It's completely, think of Martin Luther King, right?
Yeah.
Not a perfect man, but he at least had a balanced idea of what, of what things should be like. You know what I mean? Like, basically, he was from the crew of people who's like, all right, listen, it's not about who's going to take turns oppressing the other.
Yeah.
We got to stop this in its tracks. Yeah. Meaning, like, stop treating me and my mom like I'm inferior. Yeah. Okay, let's be equal, and then we could truly be equal, where no one is treated like they're physically, inferior.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what's going on right now. Is not that at all. It's not, now it's like, no, we can't do that. Now it's our turn.
Yeah.
We're going to win, do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure. There's like a revenge aspect. It's like, whatever, That's what's happening. That's essentially what's happening.
That's not what's happening. It's what they want to make.
That's what they want, yeah. No. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what they want.
That guy who ran over those people, I would put him head first in a wood chipper and enjoy it.
Yeah. No, and the fact that the media is not covering it at all. I mean, you have to put them in a wood chipper. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that emotionally, but I feel like actually putting somebody in a wood chipper is the reality of it is different than the way it feels emotionally right now.
I know.
Remember Fargo?
Yeah.
He's like, he put Steve Buscemi in the wood chipper.
Yeah. Crazy, man.
It's crazy. That's the nihilist from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah. I blank you, Lebowski. I blank you. I love those guys.
Yeah.
They're just like weird characters.
Yeah. Yeah, he always plays this kind of dudes. But yeah, so that's racism. That's in my mind what racism is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So cultural. So there's a difference between that and cultural chauvinism, or let's say Western chauvinism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is you have people who concede or they feel that the Western model of running a society and the culture that it was established in those societies is superior to the cultures that did not have the same success.
Yeah. Like
shitty third world mother effers. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Basically, here's how you know if your culture sucks.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like Jeff Foxworthy. Here's how you know if you're a redneck. Right?
If you might be.
Right. If you think that gang raping a girl is revenge for your honor, you might be a third world sack of shit.
Yeah. Huh. That's racist.
Okay.
You just said I'm racist. You're racist. What's wrong with you? You're racist. Did I ever tell you you're racist? You're racist.
All right. So that's one thing. If honor killings are allowed in your society, you might be a third world sack of shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, any type of any type of thing where any type of culture where because someone said something to you or someone said something out loud, right?
Yeah.
Which is not in agreement with what you believe.
Yeah.
If the response to that in your culture is to kill that person, your culture sucks and should go away forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate it. There's nothing redeemable about it. You suck. You suck. You suck. Your whole culture sucks. It should be gone from the world.
Yeah.
But you, as a human being, your physical features are not inferior to me. Meaning, if you had grown up in a normal culture, you'd be a normal person.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like, the whole thing with you always hear. I remember one movie that I saw this was very striking. I don't remember which movie, but there was a court case, and then the lawyer, I guess a black lawyer, is talking to the witness, white witness, and he goes something like the white witness is like, no, I don't hate all black people, or something like I like some black people, and then the black lawyer is like, oh, you just don't like those blacks. And then the guy's just like, and then the guy's like, yup. Yup.
Yeah.
And it goes all back. It all goes back to Chris Rock. Like, he said it.
Yeah, but hold on. You just touched upon something which I'd like to clear up from the last time I said. Remember, I was saying that when I was a kid, who my heroes were when I was 9 years old, 10 years old, 11, 8. It was Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Bill Cosby, and Mr. T.
But you only like us because we're entertainers. If you wouldn't last 10 minutes in my world, bitch. You come to Brownsville. Dude. You don't like all those motherfuckers in Brownsville, next to my friends. You only like me because I entertain your ass, and I had Jewish people. Come on, man.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm 8 years old.
It doesn't matter. You don't know what you. Yeah, so that's the point. You were conditioned like that. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't last 10 minutes in my world.
I don't want to. I don't want to be in your world.
Yeah, but you lived in Brooklyn, so you know better than that.
Yeah, I was in Brooklyn, and the black people that I had.
Yeah, you got. Oh yeah, you don't like the ones that steal your Reebok pumps, right? Hang them on the wire.
I don't like. You're right. I don't like those who try to steal my shit. You're right. I don't like them, and I never will. And it's not good to like them. Nobody should like those people. Nobody should feel bad for them either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you're racist. If I saw you on the street, was that guy Green? If you Miss John, you're like Miss Johnson. If I see you on the street, I'll punch you in the face.
I'll punch you right back, man. I'll kick you in the nuts. I'll beat you with your own shoes, and I'll be happy doing it. And I'll be proud of it.
That's like an Iraqi beatdown, beating me with my own shoe. It's like the worst embarrassment to hit somebody with a shoe in the Arab world. Right? They try to steal a shoe at George W. Bush.
I wouldn't hit him with my shoes. I'd hit him with his shoes.
Oh yeah, with his own shoes. It's like the most. Yeah, it's the most even more embarrassing. I'd probably rather get knocked out by Mike Tyson than that happen.
I wouldn't honestly. That's like the one dude I wouldn't want to be knocked out by.
He would kill. It's just you're done. You're done. You're dead. I'm surprised.
He got. He's pretty. He got a good punch.
Dude, I'm surprised no one had a Ivan Drago situation with him. If you watch his earlier fights when he's like 20, 19 years old, and he's just knocking people out in like 2 minutes. I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, how are they alive? Like, how is that even possible that they're alive? It's just not feasible. I would have died.
Because, I was studying his punches. Mm-hmm. On YouTube, because they had those old training videos.
Yeah,
when he was hitting the heavy bag.
Yeah.
One thing that he does that you don't really see anybody else do, you see the big dudes, they kind of just teleport.
Yeah, they teleport.
Punches,
Yeah, his punches, you don't know how it's coming, where it's the angle.
And not just that, his shoulder when he's about to punch.
Yeah.
His shoulder comes way first.
Yeah.
His shoulder's thrown first.
Yeah.
Right? He fully commits his shoulder, and then the arm is just kind of trailing behind.
It's like a short arm kind of thing he does. Like, it's weird.
It's no.
I've never seen anybody else do that. It's like it's almost like you're not like I don't know how to explain it.
No, I think somebody taught him.
Yeah.
That
no, Customato taught him that.
No. I think somebody. I was about to say something specific.
Oh, okay.
I think somebody taught him the idea of hada or hara.
Conserving
in Japan.
Conserving energy and whatever.
Hara means center. Your center, the center of mass of your body.
Yeah.
So basically, the closer your limbs are to the center of mass of your body, otherwise, also they call it like the tiger's mouth.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know how like a tiger can't really extend his arms to the sides.
Yeah.
You got like little short like paws, but it's always in front of him.
Yeah.
The tiger's triangle. Like the face and the two paws, right? Like that area.
Yeah.
So, but for a person, it's a little bit lower down. So, anyway, when your arms are closer in, you're much stronger than extending your arm out.
Yeah.
You understand? So, if you move with your body, then you're using your body is punching the person. It's not your arm. You understand? So that's a very fundamental jiu-jitsu. Just if you want to use a blanket term, that's a very fundamental idea of jiu-jitsu. Like you never want to get your arms spread out.
Yeah,
you want to keep your elbows in towards your rib cage and just do everything like that.
Well, by him it actually worked perfectly because he was doing that peekaboo situation, so he kind of like was able to transition from the peekaboo defensive stance right into that automatically. And again, the angles were like just totally, either he's coming with a hook, or he's coming with an uppercut. He was very very rarely coming with a jab, and if he was coming with a jab, that was just like a setup. It wasn't anything.
If you watch, they never know where he's coming from. They're always surprised by the angle that they're getting hit from. They don't understand how his whole foot movement discombobulated them. And that's really what it was. It was the unexpected hit of somebody who's keeping his elbows.
It looked like there was purposely a non-congruency between his feet and his arms and his upper body movements and his lower body movements. Because the boxers are taught to look at the feet, but then if your arms and your feet are like going in two different directions, like purposely, deliberately, then you're like turning your opponent into like a pretzel, like psychologically a pretzel.
It's like psychologically like a pretzel. You know why so few other people could do that? If you ever notice his legs, Mike Tyson's legs,
they're very short.
His legs are massive.
I know.
And he trained. He was a squat like Olympian, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like heavy squats. Just like body weight squats, right?
Yeah.
Very few people have that springiness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the boxers don't really do squats all day. But when Mike Tyson, when he was doing speed rope, when he was doing the jump rope, right?
Yeah.
He was doing squat jump rope. You understand that?
Yeah.
You understand how crazy that is?
It's crazy, man.
So he was comfortable. His knee, usually big dudes, that hurts their knees, right?
Yeah.
Mike Tyson was comfortable where big dudes were not comfortable.
I'm telling you, it's almost literally, like we spoke about this before, somebody took a martial arts guy and just shoved him into boxing.
Yeah, no, he was Mike Tyson. The older I get, I realize he was not a simple boxer. He was a prodigy. He was a boxing prodigy. For
sure. And that's why people say like, oh, this guy can't go the distance and he's like a knockout artist. I mean, he's designed to be that. It's kind of like Bruce Lee. You want Bruce Lee to go the distance? Really? No. Bruce Lee is watch every movie of his. That's how he fought in real life. So it's like he's designed to just knock Chuck Norris out immediately.
Do you know of a good example of an absolute just tough beast? Just one fights on pure, just absolute toughness. He didn't have no finesse, no nothing, just pure brute grit.
Are you talking
Rocky
about
Marciano?
Yes.
Rocky Marciano was a true grit champion.
Well, they mixed the character of Sylvester Stallone mixed the character of Rocky Marciano and what's his name, the guy he fought Muhammad Ali to like the distance. Wepner. He took Wepner and Rocky Marciano, put them together, and you got Rocky. Chuck Wepner? Am I correct?
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about.
He almost beat here. Character Rocky based on basically but Chuck Wepner. Chuck Wepner, he's like the real life Rocky. He fought it's a famous thing. There. The heck is this thing? Chuck Wepner. Who did he fight? He fought Ali. Yeah, he fought Ali and he like almost beat him. He almost beat him. It was like he emulated when he did the whole Rocky versus what's his name? Apollo Creed. That's like Wepner versus Ali. Yeah, they won 15 rounds. I mean, back when they had 15 rounds. What's it called? And he beat him on, I guess, whatever, split decision or something like that. Ali beat him.
Yeah.
But that was that was basically that was the character that Rocky was based on. This like just dude who just like will take a beat down, take a lick and keep on ticking.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch some of those scenes in Rocky, you're like, dude, can you please put your arms up a little bit? Like, do you have to take every punch in your face, every single punch? Like, it's a little bit strange looking back at it, when you're when you're a little bit more mature.
Yeah.
It's like, put your arms up a little bit. You don't have to let him hit you in the face every time.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're not talking about Rocky. We're talking about black dudes right now. All right?
Yeah.
So Mike Tyson, one of my heroes when I was a kid. I didn't think, you understand, I didn't have political thoughts.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
When I was a kid.
It's true.
I loved those I love Reagan. I love Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
I love Eddie Murphy, Michael Jackson, Mr. T. I love the whole A-Team, but especially Mr. T because he looked like a superhero to me. And he had his own breakfast cereal.
I heard you said some jokes about me. No, I didn't. Maybe I didn't. I'm a bit of the fool that told me lies.
That was funny,
Michael Jackson, I would bust your ass.
I don't know. That's the one thing I didn't like about the Eddie Murphy thing when he started making fun of Mr. T. I'm like, why Mr. T? He's like,
can you imagine Mr. T as a FAGGAOT, GGOT? He's like, when I bend over, whatever.
I know. That was too much. That was too much for me, man.
Yeah, it breaks of vessels, right?
But at least he goes, man, I don't want to see Mr. T at a party because you don't look like one of them dudes who can't kick somebody's ass. You look like somebody who can whip your ass. Right?
Yeah.
So, he goes,
I do the Jedi mind trick on him.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I heard some jokes about me. No, I didn't. Maybe I didn't. Maybe you didn't.
Maybe I did. I'm gonna go beat up that fool that told me.
I'm being a fool who told me the lies. You look mighty cute in them jeans, boy.
Dude, but he was probably like everybody remembers Ivan Drago, but Mr. T was an awesome villain in Rocky 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
he's like, come on, bad boy. Come get a real man.
I know. I didn't like that because I was like, I don't want to see Mr. T like that. Mr. T's like, he's the type of dude that always has kids hanging around. He's like, you know what I'm saying?
Or at least he's yelling, or he's like intimidating his fellow A-Team guy who's like a white nerdy guy. And he's just
you're talking about Murdoch.
Murdoch, he's being an idiot, and he's like, "Come on, fool! Stop the helicopter, fool! I'll throw you off a helicopter."
Right.
And he's like, "Okay, I got it. I got the point."
I think Hannibal.
Yeah.
I think Hannibal was the only guy that he actually feared.
Respected. Yeah.
Somewhat.
Well, because he's like that guy. You don't know. The guy could just like implant a bomb in your bed, and then the next morning be like, "I love it when a plan comes together."
Yeah. Damn, Hannibal.
Dude, I had that
energy.
I had that van. I had that little van, like a toy.
Yes.
Their van. I was like, this is a dope ass van.
Mr. T was an engineering genius.
Yeah.
like when you needed some shit constructed, some crazy sci-fi stuff. I was like, "Where's Mr. T?"
Where they're playing the people. They're all like Vietnam War veterans, and one of them, I guess, he's like his character was the.
He was their Q. You know, like James Bond has Q. He was their Q.
He was the guy. Well, he was in the army. It's like he was the Army Corps of Engineers kind of guy, or something like that. Yeah. And busting some heads on the side, you know.
Dude, he was like a superhero. He had very original. Like a really original style, you know, that mohawk with the crazy feathers.
What's
he
his
looked like he looked like a kid's superhero.
His name is Lawrence Turod, with a D at the end. Yeah, he played B.A. Baracus.
That's a cool sounding name.
Bosco
too, right?
Bosco Sergeant Bosco Albert B.A. Baracus. That was the character. What does it say? Baracus was played by mixed martial artist. Oh, 2010 film version. Played by Quinton Rampage Jackson. Oh my goodness, MMA guy. That was in 2010.
Why are they trying to do that?
I don't know.
They're going to try to remake the Goonies.
But check this out. But listen to oh my God. Listen, the A-Team is a group of ex-United States Army Special Forces soldiers who were wrongly convicted of a crime during the Vietnam War. Managing to escape from military police, they fled to LA, where as fugitives, the A-Team works as soldiers of fortune, using their military training to fight oppression and injustice. B.A., along with Hannibal Smith, Templeton, Faceman Peck, and H.M. Murdoch, make up the A-Team. The pilot episode, Mexican Sleigh Ride, B.A. is described as follows by a reporter colleague of Amy Allen, Bosco Baracus, known as B.A. for bad attitude. The man is a mechanical genius. He also has one of the worst conduct records during the Army. He likes to slug officers. A rough and tough fighter, the character of B.A. Baracus is basically that of the public persona of Mr. T himself. He is known for his trademark African Mandinka warrior hairstyle, often mistaken for a frohawk style, and his gold jewelry. Also, it's an African style, interesting. While the other members of the team regularly resort to disguises, scams, and subterfuge to achieve their goals, B.A.'s distinctive appearance and confrontational attitude usually lead to a more direct approach to problems, which often involve either his skills at hand-to-hand combat, boxing and wrestling, or his mechanical talents. He's a highly skilled mechanic and has amazing talent for making impressive machinery out of just about any ordinary parts. He received his initial training at in the Jamaican Defense Force. In season 2, Hannibal.
All that kind of stuff.
So weird.
Dude, with all that kind of stuff, he was scared to fly.
He had
to knock him out every time they need to get him on the plane.
Although Murdoch, addressing with the phrase, "You crazy fool." Although Murdoch is usually unfazed by B.A.'s gruffness. In fact, B.A. and Murdoch are very close friends, with almost the relationship of frequently quarreling brothers, as can be seen in Curtain Call, the season 2 finale, where Murdoch is shot and B.A. is desperate to save him. Despite B.A.'s reputed attitude, he is a kind person who has a special fondness for children, occasionally working at a youth center teaching sports to the children. It is divulged in season 2 episodes that he's from Chicago, another parallel with the real Mr. T. A teetotaler, B.A. did not touch alcohol, preferring milk instead. He suffers from pteromerhanophobia and intense fear of flying, especially when the pilot is Murdoch. He typically exclaims, "I ain't getting on no plane." No, he's like, "I ain't getting on no plane." This difficulty is often overcome by other members of team drugging him, knocking him unconscious, or as one episode, hypnotizing him so he can be transported without objection. In season 1 episode, The Beast from the Belly of a Boeing, he is on a plane pretending to be a maintenance technician with Murdoch when the plane suddenly takes off. He immediately falls into a catatonic state while Murdoch tries to revive him. Furthermore, in 2 episodes of The Sound of Thunder and Quarterback Sneak, B.A. hops into a helicopter, which is piloted by Murdoch, although he is said to have gone catatonic during the plane ride in The Sound of Thunder. In season 4, Lease with an Option to Die, oh my god, that's an awesome title, he temporarily overcomes his fear of flying when he learns his mother is hurt. In that episode, his mother and her friends in Chicago are under the impression that he is the leader of the A-Team, which Hannibal and others go along with. He submits to her authority, and the team is highly amused when his mother calls him by his childhood nickname of Scooter. In season 2, Diamonds and Dust, we learn that B.A.'s father was once beaten up by 3 men and almost died, giving B.A. a special understanding of the client, Toby, a woman whose father had been murdered. As revealed in a few episodes, BA and Murdoch share the same blood type, AB negative, the rarest type. This was a plot device for finding one of them urgently when a transfusion was needed for the other. BA drives a customized 1983 GMC van, painted black and gray with a red stripe, black and red rims, and a rooftop spoiler.
Awesome looking van. Best looking van ever.
Dude, I'm telling you, BA is extremely protective of his van and becomes furious if it gets any damage. He prefers to drive the van himself, although the other members of the team frequently drive the van for a variety of reasons, generally when BA was otherwise indisposed. He often says, "Nobody gives my van but me, drives my van but me." He appears to also apply this principle to other vehicles, such as The Trouble with Harry, where he insists on driving Hulk Hogan's limousine to follow a young friend from the center he helps at. That's basically it.
By the way, Hulk Hogan is the same kind of dude as Mr. T. You know, he's like one of these like action heroes for kids.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Action heroes for kids, like in real life situation. That guy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Look at that, Mr. T. That's look, Hulk. It's the Hulkster. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm still living, brother. I'm still living.
He's like, "Oh, you take your vitamins, Hulkamaniacs."
Do your homework, right? And Mr. T said stuff like that too.
Yeah.
He's like, "Remember, kids, do your homework. Be good. Go to school." You know,
Dude, this Rampage Jackson thing, they tried to do a copy of. Oh my god, so it's such a rip-off.
What are they trying to do, man? You see, that's the Sitra Achra, by the way.
Yeah.
That's example of the Sitra Achra, where you had something awesome,
and
right?
you destroyed
and something
it.
that people that really like, and then you try to create an alternate version of it to cover over the original awesomeness.
Yeah. Terrible.
That's how Rabbi Kessin basically describes the Sitra Achra. Anyway,
Dude, you're a little muffled. I can't hear it as well. Try to put your hand
how about now?
A little better. If you could put your hand on the phone.
My hand is not on the phone.
Oh, that's really weird. So why is the volume so low? Oh, there we go. It's better now. Okay. Sorry.
It's probably on your side.
It was on my side. I just made it bigger. More.
Okay. So, all right. So just back to the main point. That was a fun little joyride.
Yeah.
Took the scenic route for a second. We gotta finish the point.
Yeah.
The point is that it's hard enough for me to like anybody, right? You're telling me that now I gotta like everybody of a certain group? I gotta like every black person?
Yeah.
Like, why can't I just like, the people that I like? Like, I don't like everybody in my own family. I gotta like every black person?
I don't like many Jews. Does it make me an anti-Semite? No. Just, I don't like them for cultural reasons. Cultural,
as
not
Norm
racial.
Macdonald would say, as Norm Macdonald would say, it's hard. It's hard enough to like anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very funny. So what's next?
Let's talk about
Oh, look, fully smaxinated Canadian rocker Bryan Adams. Speaking of the '90s, tests positive for COVID for the second time in a month.
Dude,
Fully smaxinated for Schmovid.
Dude, I heard this. Did we talk about this? How that song "I Want to Run to You"?
Yeah, it's about cheating. But it's a good song. I like the song.
It's first of all, it's an incredible song. Second of all, crazy plot twist.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
That was not about another woman. That was about his guitar.
Interesting.
That was the other woman.
Yeah. Here's another thing.
Everybody thought it was...
The countries that are declaring the states of emergency due to rising Schmovid cases also happen to be the countries that have injected the highest percentage of the population.
My brother keeps saying that.
Portugal, one of the most schmaxinated countries in the world, declares a state of emergency, imposes new restrictions to curb the sudden surge of Schmovid. Dude, and of course they'll explain it away.
Dude, Israel, the island nation of Seychelles, which is a Pacific island, and there's another place where they have like more than 80% of the people vaccinated already, right?
Yeah.
They're experiencing the biggest breakouts. Proven that it doesn't work. Proven.
Yeah.
I mean, proven a long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyway,
look, check this out. The WHO the hell are they, calls a special meeting to discuss new variant found in South Africa with a large number of mutations. And it's like basically resistant to the schmacks. Now what? Now what?
Okay, hold on. We got to talk about Patrice O'Neal for a second. Because he was doing this routine a while ago. It was about the Africanized bees or something like that.
Yeah.
When they were talking about there was like, people getting attacked by like bees or wasps, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, and then they were talking about you got these new Africanized bees, right? So he was doing this routine.
Yeah.
He goes, why did it have to become Africanized? Like, what are they gonna do? Like, how are they gonna present that in the media? They're gonna show like a bee with a backwards hat or something like that. He goes, Africanized. Here comes the big black Africanized, and he was, oh my god, he's so funny, man. That guy is so funny, bro.
By the way, another player. See, there you go. This happened yesterday. He plays for Sheriff Tiraspol. Tiraspol is a team. Is a team from actually Moldova. And they're playing against big teams in what is it called in Europe, and this was a Champions League game yesterday. The guy he was a top player. He just collapsed. There you go. Just collapsed in the middle of the game. I think he's Baruch Hashem, I think he survived, but he just collapsed. Like it's just like, and you just keep explaining it and explaining it and explaining it away.
So what are you trying to say, Greg? That it's not a coincidence? That it wouldn't have happened anyway?
Honestly, I just want to tell these people, go blank yourself.
Tell him, man. Tell him.
Yeah. Here. I'm just gonna post this. I'm just gonna post this now. If you deny this, go blank yourself.
He was a ticking time bomb. It would have happened anyway.
Yeah. Take your time, bomb.
It's global warming.
Here. What the hell? Why is my... hold on a second, man. Hold on a second. The flip? Why is... Hello?
Yeah.
You still there? Okay, fine. Sorry about that. Hold, can you give me 1 second? I have to pause. Okay. Yeah, so this guy plays for Tiraspol. Sheriff Tiraspol in Moldova, and he's from Mali. Adama Traore. Adama Maluda Traore. 26-year-old guy, man. Just here.
Did he survive?
So I'm reading here. This is the Daily Mail, the British. Hold on a second. These ads, dear Lord. Yeah.
Are you recording now?
Yeah, I'm recording. Collapse on, latest high-profile player to collapse on the pitch. They were playing Real Madrid. There was no concern for Armand in Wednesday night. Here. Went down clutching his chest following a touchline challenge. Medics raced on to help. He remained conscious throughout the scare. Smelling salts were used to keep him conscious before he was substituted off. He becomes the latest player to go down on the pitch with chest problems. Denmark star Christian Eriksen suffered cardiac arrest in Europe. This is last summer. Sheffield United midfielder John Fleck collapsed on the pitch Tuesday night. Yeah, that guy, what's his name? Aguero, he's retired officially at the age of 33. He's not going to play again. See, so the Mali attacker committed a 50-50 challenge on the touchline with Real Madrid's Nacho Fernandez. Yeah, it's a funny name. And when the ball went out of play, Traore appeared under duress. Traore, 26, turned to walk away from the ball, which had gone out for a throw-in in the 77th minute, when he immediately became uncomfortable, clutching his chest before slumping to the turf. He remained breathing throughout, but after a few seconds of lying on the ground in distress, the Moldovan side medics raced on to help. Medics immediately looked to use the smelling salts to activate his senses, but he was not reacting strongly to them. He was seen shaking his head in responses to questions by the medics and was eventually raised to a sitting position before being helped off the field and back to the dressing room. The Moldovan side have yet to detail the reasons behind why Traore was suffering from chest pains. Of course, they will not detail the reasons. But do they want to be kicked out of Champions League and never play again against teams like Real Madrid? Concern for Traore comes soon after Barcelona striker Sergio Aguero was diagnosed with cardiac arrhythmia after he was forced off with chest pains in the 1-1 draw against Alaves. Deportivo it's a Spanish team. Catalan Giants have since ruled the 33-year-old Argentine out of action for the 3 months as a period of rest once extensive medical tests had been carried out. Aguero insisted he was feeling positive, tweeting, "I am fine and in good spirits to face the recovery process." I want to thank everyone for so many messages of support and affection that make my heart stronger today. Earlier this week, Sheffield United midfielder John Fleck collapsed on the pitch during a size championship fixture with Reading. This is like the second league of England. On Tuesday night, the Blades were leading 1-0 thanks to Jayden Bogle's 56-minute strike when Fleck collapsed on the pitch in the second half. His teammates immediately called for medical assistance, and 30-year-old received 10 minutes of urgent treatment on the pitch at Madejski Stadium before being transported to Royal Berkshire Hospital. After remaining conscious in hospital for around 12 hours, Fleck was released on Wednesday morning and headed back to Sheffield and will be monitored by the club closely after speaking clearly to the club, medics, and family. Sportsmail produced a special report on the issue with 1 in every 260 players holding a life-threatening heart issue.
Filipino basketball star Reuter Cabrera suffers cardiac arrest and collapses on court during tournament. Is rushed to the hospital after losing consciousness.
Yeah.
Just now.
It's ridiculous. Here. 5 months ago at Euro 2020, there was the harrowing collapse of Denmark midfielder Christian Eriksen. Last month, Icelandic midfielder Emil Paulsen required resuscitation. Both suffered cardiac. Listen, I'm just wondering how many of these is it going, like high-profile ones? Because some of the ones we read were like amateur guys, high school guys, whatever. How many high-profile guys is it going to take for them just to say, shit? Like, we can't keep hiding this. We can't keep doing this.
No, they're never going to say that because they believe that they don't have to hide. They're so confident in their ability or in your lack of ability. I don't mean you. I mean the public.
Yeah.
They're so confident in apathy.
Yeah. Oh, of course. No, here, look at the comments. Look at the comments to this article. It's not the COVID vaccine. I developed cardiac arrhythmia months after I developed COVID and 6 months before I had the vaccine. My consultant told me they had seen a number of people, including young, healthy men, developing heart problems after contracting COVID. I know Aguero had COVID earlier this year, so please get the vaccine and take precautions to avoid getting this awful virus. This is some Linda Frank in London. Here, the fact remains that even events like these, Fo, Fair, Mwamba, who thankfully differences that survive, used to happen every 3 or 4 years or so. We're now in a situation where they're occurring every 3 to 4 weeks. This merits urgent further investigation, even if it's established there is no causal link. We all want to know, has he had the jab? More of our top athletes are having cardiac problems. Someone needs to address the situation, as many sports persons need to be informed on all treatments that are suggested to them. Let's all be conscious and responsible. All the best. Let's start talking freely and openly about these things. Yeah, it was Fabrice Muamba collapsed on the pitch in 2012. Now, since the vaccine, it seems like happening every week. Trevor Sinclair got cut off live on air for mentioning, does anyone think it could be the vaccine when another player collapsed recently? Yeah, Trevor Sinclair is like a commentator in England, like a big one. He asked a very valid question. Coroner reports on vaccine deaths are now saying that the number one cause from vaccine. It's weird. Why nearly 100 top-level athletes have collapsed with heart problems this year? A lot of very fit people seem to be keeling over all of a sudden, almost as if there was a new cause. Hold on a second.
Let's change the subject.
This Turkey did whatever. So Bekitzer, you understand what's going on?
Yeah, it's one of those things you wish you were wrong about.
I
want to touch upon something that you mentioned that I guess we spoke about briefly. Yeah. You were describing your friends who were talking about how cute gematriot were, right?
Well, they were talking about the usage of gematriot by some Kiruv rabbis to kind of make people see, kind of in passing, that there's something, there's like a force that's behind Torah, and there's like a code behind it, but it's not really. What they're trying to say is like it's not really ikar of the thing in terms of what you should be focused on, with relationship to your, to your connected to Hashem. You should be focused on mitzvot.
Oh, yeah?
That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Okay.
They're not denying it. They're not denying it. They know it's a real thing, but they're not putting, prime importance on it.
Let's make a distinction between these unnamed people that should probably remain unnamed, especially after I read the following. May I?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So first of all, I'm reading a blog called Mayim Achronim.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know the name of the person who writes this blog, but they have a quote here from the Baal HaTurim. Okay, so this is a post called Mind Blowing Gematriot.
Mm-hmm.
In this week's Parsha, which is when this came out, it was Ha'azinu.
Mm-hmm.
Moshe cautions the people in his final song to carefully fulfill, quote, all the words of this Torah, for it is not an empty thing for you, unquote. That's from Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 46 through 47. Okay, so the Baal HaTurim, Rabbi Yaakov ben Asher, who lived in 1269, passed away in 1343. He was a student of the Ramban, by the way. So he comments here that on a deeper level, the words, quote, for it is not an empty thing for you, are referring to Gematriot.
Yeah.
The numerical calculations and the mathematical codes embedded in the Torah that emanate from the divinity and precision of the Hebrew language.
Yeah.
The general public often disparages Gematria as being unreal or artificial in some way. A soup where anyone can find anything that they are looking for. This couldn't be further from the truth. While some have certainly abused Gematria in unnatural ways, there is a legitimate foundation and system to it.
Yeah.
In the same way that the universe itself is entirely mathematical in nature, and everything can be described with numbers, equations, and formulas, the Torah too is mathematical in nature and can be described with numbers. We explored this in great depth in the Encoded Universe share. Okay, the Torah itself alludes to this frequently, giving long lists of numbers that might appear meaningless. Why record the precise lifespans of all the ancient figures in Bereshit, in Genesis, and split them up into strange chunks of digits instead of just giving one number? For instance, Sarah's life is given as 100 years and 20 years and 7 years.
Yeah.
Why not just say 127 years?
Yeah.
Why provide lengthy accountings of the exact numbers and weights of every item in the Mishkan? Why have so many different censuses? The Torah is telling us to pay attention to the numbers.
Yeah.
In fact, the Talmud, in the volume called Kiddushin, on page 30 on the A side, it states that the first sages of Judaism were referred to as the Sofrim, which literally translates as counters.
Yeah.
Because they analyze the Torah numerically. Okay?
Yeah.
So the Baal HaTurim comments on the words, quote, for it is not an empty thing for you.
Yeah.
That's Moshe Rabbeinu's statement, right? To teach that Gematriot are truly not an empty thing. So don't be so quick to brush it off.
Yeah.
He proves it beautifully and appropriately by demonstrating that the numerical value of the phrase, for it is not an empty thing for you, right, which is ki lo devar rak hu mikem. Okay, the gematria of that phrase is 679, which is also the value of the word gematriot. With numerical precision, the Torah highlights that gematriot are not an empty matter. As such, let us present just a handful of examples of the Torah's mathematical exactness. And he goes on to, provide a bunch of awesome ones. It's funny that I just came across that, soon after soon after you told me what some of these people said to you, which, by the way, I'm familiar with that attitude. So, you have all these tzaddikim with their amazing, they don't need gematria. They're impeccable faith. They're mighty, they're mighty neshamas. Take care of everything for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
right here.
Can you hear me?
No. So I'm just wondering where does this disdain come from, or this It's just a pomposity. It's just a what is it?
It's called Gullus. It's called the Torah in exile. Okay, the Leshem. Many people use that term, the Torah in exile, and there's a lot of depth and layers to the meaning of that phrase. But this is part of it, where people they refuse to eat from the tree of life.
Yeah.
The tree of life is the Torah, is the Kabbalah that has been revealed in the later generations. Okay? When I say revealed, I mean things that were never published.
Yeah.
Things that the general public were never allowed to know.
Yeah.
The Ari, the Arizal, he was brought to the world to begin to release. He had a mandate from heaven to begin to explain things that were kept secret.
Yeah, for sure.
For 1,500 years until he came along.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
So, for instance, it's true the Zohar was published, but it was essentially a closed book. Mm-hmm. Nobody had the cipher to break the code, and he revealed the cipher.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and he said even from his time, and then the Vilna Gaon said, he goes, people, the only way to bring Mashiach is to learn this limud.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, but you have all these towers, these paragons of piety, who they don't need it. They're above it.
Yeah.
So since we have Hanukkah coming up, I was wondering if you wouldn't be completely opposed to me reading something about Hanukkah.
No, of course not.
Which is very interesting.
Of course not. My birthday is Zod Hanukkah. Hebrew birthday.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you.
Are you kidding? Hey,
No.
Yuri, what, are you kidding me?
No, I am not kidding you.
So it's Zot Hanukkah every year?
I mean, it's Tevet 2. It's not. I don't think it's every year, but it's Tevet 2. Bet Tevet. Hold on. I was born. Hold on. Oh yeah, 1980, December 9th. 1980 in the morning. Yeah, I was born Tevet 2. So Tevet 2 this year is Vayigash, and it's December 6th, and it's day 8, Hanukkah day 8. Tevet 2 last year was day 7 actually, so it's not every year. Yeah, it's sometimes day 8, sometimes day 7, but I was born on Zod Hanukkah. Yeah.
Okay, so the following is shaykh to you.
Yeah.
And you might...
Hold on a second, man. Sorry. Okay, we're back.
We are back, folks.
Yeah.
We are back. Okay, so this is the following is a blog post again from Maya Machronim.
Yeah.
And it's called "When Jews and Greeks Were Brothers: The Untold Story of Hanukkah."
Yeah.
As we celebrate the festive holiday of Hanukkah, it is important to remember that not all of the Greeks were wicked and immoral. The enemies of the Hanukkah narrative were the Seleucids, otherwise known as Hellenized Syrians, or sometimes also called Syrian Greeks.
Yeah.
They were not the Greeks of Europe on the mainland. In fact, the book of Maccabees, the first book of Maccabees, chapter 12, verses 6 through 18, they record an alliance between Yonatan Maccabee, the Kohen Gadol, and the righteous leader of Israel after the death of Matityahu and Yehuda Maccabee.
Yeah.
And the famous Spartans of mainland Greece. So here's the letter. Jonathan, the high priest, and the council of the nation, and the priests, and the rest of the Jewish people send greetings to their brothers, the Spartans.
Yeah.
In former times, a letter was sent to the high priest Onias.
Interesting.
From Arius, or Eris, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, from Eris, who was then king among you, the Spartans, to say that you are our kinsmen.
Yeah.
And Onias showed honor to the man who was sent to him and accepted the letter, which contained a declaration of alliance and friendliness.
Yeah.
So although we are in no need of these, since we find our encouragement in the sacred books that are in our keeping, we have undertaken to send to renew relations of brotherhood and friendliness with you, so that we may not become entirely estranged from you. Okay, that was part of the letter. So now, Jonathan
Can I read something really?
out,
Can I read something? There's a blog actually called Watch Jerusalem. I hope it's not a. Hold on, it's something like archaeological kind of thing. I don't know who runs this website. Who runs this? About Us? Okay, they kind of look like. Okay, so they're Christian, whatever guys. Yeah, there's a blog post on their thing. The Spartans, children of Abraham, brothers of the Jews. Apparently, so they're like the children of Keturah.
So I'm going to go into this.
Okay.
It's going to cover everything.
Okay,
they probably copy and pasted from this blog.
Could be.
So, yeah. Okay. So that we were just reading a letter that Jonathan had sent to the Spartans, which referenced a letter that the Spartan king had sent to the Jews in a previous generation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Jonathan points out that Israel does not need the help of the Spartans to defeat the Seleucids, as God's help is all they need. Nonetheless, Israel and Sparta were always good friends, and Israel wanted to keep it that way. In his letter, Jonathan mentions an earlier letter sent by King Arius of Sparta to Onias, the Kohen Gadol. Onias is the Hellenized, or the Greek version of the name Honiyahu. Okay, the son of Yadua, the high priest mentioned in Nehemiah chapter 12, verse 11. Yeah. So this letter is recorded in the book of Maccabees, the first book of Maccabees, chapter 12, verses 20 to 23, as well as the writings of Josephus, opening with the words, Arius, king of the Spartans, sends greetings to Onias, the high priest of the Jews. It is found in writing that the Spartans and Jews are kinsmen, and that they are both the stock of Abraham. Incredibly, the Spartan king suggests that the Spartans are descendants of Abraham as well. Where does this bizarre belief come from? So he's going to go into what you were just about to read. So sometime in the 2nd century BCE lived a Greek historian named Cleodemus, sometimes referred to as Cleodemus the prophet. He also went by the name Malchus, which, because of its Semitic origins, makes some scholars believe he could have been Jewish. Cleodemus wrote an entire history of the Jewish people in Greek. While this text appears to have been lost, it is cited by others, including Josephus, in Antiquities. So Cleodemus commented on Abraham's marriage to Keturah, who is typically identified with Hagar, and their children. This is recorded in Genesis 25, which begins, and Abraham took another wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bore him Zimran, and Yokshan, and Midan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shuach, and Yokshan begot Sheva and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumim, and the sons of Midian were Ephra, and Epher, and Hanoch, and Avida, and Eldaah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had to Yitzhak, while to the sons of the concubines that Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and he sent them away from Yitzhak while he was still alive to the east country. So Abraham had 6 children with Keturah, from which came at least 7 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren, which the Torah names.
Can you give me 1 second, man? I'm sorry. Okay. Good. We're back again.
And we're back. Okay, quickly. So Abraham had 6 children with Keturah, from which came at least 7 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren, which the Torah names explicitly. The Torah then makes it clear that Abraham gave everything that he had to Isaac, including the covenant with God and the land of Israel, while the others received gifts, and they went to the east of the Holy Land. So Cleodemus, this Greek historian that we mentioned before, he suggests that Epher, the great-grandson of Abraham, migrated to Africa, which is where he thinks the term Africa came from. So this Epher, Africa, that's what he thinks. So this is particularly interesting because Epher was the son of Midian, and Zipporah, the wife of Moshe, was a Midianite, and is described as a Cushite, which is like Ethiopian, African Ethiopian. So Cleodemus states that Epher, Yaphron, and Ashurim assisted, and those are all either sons or grandsons of Abraham, that these 3 guys assisted the Greek hero Hercules in one of his battles. Following this, Hercules married one of the daughters, a great-granddaughter of Abraham, and had a son with her. This was Diodorus, one of the legendary founders of Sparta. Okay, so that's one theory as to the connection of Sparta to Abraham.
Yeah.
But that's not as feasible as some other stuff that I heard. But I'll just continue. We're almost done.
Yeah.
It appears that the Spartan king Arius was aware of the possible historical connection and accepted it as a fact. This connection may explain why the Spartans were so similar to ancient Israelites. Not really, but whatever. Others have suggested that because the Israelite tribe of Shimon, known for being fierce warriors, did not receive a set portion in the Holy Land, many of them moved elsewhere, ended up in Sparta, or ended up in Sparta after being expelled from Israel by the the Assyrians, alongside the other lost tribe. That makes way more sense because the Danites and the Simonites, there were sections of them that broke off, that they became seafarers, and they ended up on the Greek Isles, and they became part of the societies there. It's also likely that they brought the alphabet, because I think even mainstream scholars are not going to deny the connection between the Greek alphabet and what they call the Proto-Hebrew alphabet, or sometimes it's referred to as the Phoenician alphabet. Like you could see the direct connection. But anyway, so in his book, Sparta, renowned historian Hugo Jones writes that the Spartans held in the highest regard a certain ancient lawgiver, much like Moses, the lawgiver of Israel. The Spartans celebrated new moons. It's like Rosh Chodesh. And unlike their Greek counterparts, they even had the 7th day of rest. Of course, the Spartans themselves were very different from other Greeks, particularly those in Athens, whom Sparta often battled. The Spartan form of government was different too, not an Athenian-style democracy, but a monarchy that governed alongside a council of elders, much like Israel's kings and Sanhedrin. Well, perhaps most similarly, the Spartans were known for their stoic way of life. The later Greek school of Stoicism was modeled on the ancient way of the Spartans. This meant living simply and modestly, being happy with what one has, and most importantly, putting mind above body and logic above emotion.
But can I ask a question? But didn't they do the whole? I mean, they did child sacrifice, no?
They did.
At some point.
There's obviously a lot of places where they deviate from the ancient Israelites.
I was gonna say,
because they were idol worshippers essentially. But this almost. But I just want to finish because he's actually going to touch upon that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this almost sounds like something out of Pirkei Avot, meaning of putting mind above body and logic above emotion, right? He says this almost sounds like something out of Pirkei Avot, and is a teaching echoed across Jewish texts, both ancient and modern. In fact, when Josephus tried to explain who the rabbis were to his Roman audience, he actually called them the Jewish Stoic philosophers.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Gideon. So this is how I came upon this blog post, because I'm reading Shoftim with my dad, and we got we got to Gidon, right?
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of questions, and it's not easy to find commentary on Gidon, by the way. So on some of the verses. So okay, so this is okay. It's called Gidon and Leonidas. Okay, undoubtedly the most famous story of the Spartans is the Battle of Thermopylae.
Yeah.
Around 480 BC, Persian Emperor Xerxes invaded Greece with a massive force. Xerxes first sent messengers to the Greek city-states to offer peaceful surrender. According to the historian Herodotus, Sparta's king Leonidas told the messenger, quote, "A slave's life is all you understand. You know nothing of freedom. For if you did, you would have encouraged us to fight on, not only with our spear, but with everything we have." Okay, spoken like a true Maccabee. The messenger then told Leonidas and his men to bow down, to which Leonidas, like his historical contemporary Mordecai, said, "We bow down before no man." Later, when the Persian boasted that his empire was the wealthiest in the world, with gold reserves, the likes of which Leonidas could only dream of, Leonidas replied, Ares is Lord. Greece has no fear of gold, because they worship Ares, the god of war. So this statement almost makes Leonidas seem like a monotheist in a certain extent. Indeed, the Spartans worshipped Ares, the god of war, above all others. Interestingly, the Torah commonly describes Hashem in similar military terms, like a great warrior riding a Merkava or a chariot, as the god of legions, right? Or as we more familiar to us, Hashem Tzevakot, right? Yud Hey Vav Hey Tzevaot, right? That's one of the names of God, which and even he's sometimes spoken of in the Torah in Exodus chapter 15 verse 3 as Ish Milchama, man of war. Of course, the Spartans had their abominable statues and disgusting idols, which is perhaps the greatest distinction and a critical one between them and ancient Israel, aside from leaving their kids out who weren't perfect, right? Just letting them, die from exposure, right? I mean, there's probably some other stuff too that wasn't that wonderful, but anyway, so King Leonidas went on to assemble just 300 brave men to face off against the massive Persian invasion. Although they ultimately lost, Spartans fought valiantly, inspired their fellow Greeks, and did enough damage to hamper Persian victory. This story of 302 has a biblical parallel. The book of Judges records a nearly identical narrative. It's not nearly identical, but with the judge Gidon assembling 300 brave men and miraculously defeating a massive foreign invasion. Actually, it wasn't really Gidon that assembled 300 men. It was Gidon assembled tens of thousands of men, and God said, "You know what? I don't need all these guys. Send everybody home except the 300, because if I deliver the enemies into your hands with this many people, all of you are going to think that it was you, that you did it by your hand. Instead, if it's only 300, then everyone will know that it was me, or that something like that. That was like the basic idea. So it's quite different, but the number 300 is what they have in common. So
what I keep thinking? I keep thinking that they would just go like, "This is Lubavitch." Anyway. I just wanted to do that.
In Gidon's case, this is Menashe. But,
This
is Menashe. Yeah. Although they ultimately lost, the Spartans fought valiantly. Okay, fine. So the Book of Judges recorded. Okay, I already said that. So which came first? The earliest complete Greek mythological texts date back only to the 3rd century BCE. By then, the Tanakh had long been completed, and in that same century was first translated into the Greek Septuagint. So it isn't hard to imagine Greek scholars and historians of the 3rd century getting their hands on the first copies of Tanakh, the first Greek copies of Tanakh, and incorporating those narratives into their own. In fact, the Greek Jewish philosopher Aristobulus of Alexandria, who lived in 181 to 124 BCE, admitted that all of Greek wisdom comes from the earlier Jewish sources.
Mm-hmm.
The later Greek philosopher, Parmenides of Apamea, said it best. What is Plato but Moses speaking Greek? That's how they viewed it.
Yeah.
Bart Sadok is not going to like what I'm saying right now because he's anyway. Greece. So Greece and the Exodus. The similarities between Greek myth and more ancient Jewish texts are uncanny.
Mm-hmm.
Hercules was a mighty warrior whose first task of 12 tasks in total was to slay a lion, like the mighty Shimshon, who first slays a lion in Judges. Deucalion, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that, but okay, so Deucalion, this is the Greek version. He survives a great flood that engulfs the whole world as punishment from angry Zeus. Like Noah before him, Deucalion has a wife and 3 sons, and like Noah, Deucalion is associated with winemaking. The root of his name is Deutos.
Interesting.
Pandora's curiosity brings about evil just like Eve's, while Asclepius carries a healing serpent staff like Moses. Aristophanes even taught that Zeus first made man as male and female in one body and later split them in half, just as the Torah and the Talmud do. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who say, yeah, you got it from the Greeks. Okay, well, whatever. What about all the codes? Anyway, so in Jewish tradition, the Greeks come from the biblical Yavan, son of Japhet, or Yefet, or Japheth, or depending on how you pronounce it. But in Hebrew, it's Japhet, okay, who was son of Noah, okay, as written in Genesis chapter 10, verse 2. Okay, so Yavan is the same as the Greek Ion. You know, like Ionic?
Yeah, of course.
Right? Okay, so who was one of the Greek gods, and Ionia, referring to one of its most important regions, and the dialect of the great Greek poets Homer and Hesiod, as well as the scholars Herodotus and Hippocrates. Meanwhile, the Greeks worshipped Lapidus, which sounds like Japhet. I'm sorry, not Lapidus, Iapetus. Iapetus. Which sounds like Japhet as a major god.
Or like yap at us. You don't have to yap at you. Yap at them.
Right. Right.
He's just yapping at us.
Right. Yaphet. Right. we talked about that actor Yaphet Kotto. We got to talk about him. He's actually an interesting black Jewish guy, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
So Iapetus was the father of Prometheus, who was the quote unquote, God, lowercase g, who supposedly fashioned man from the mud of the earth. So not surprisingly, the biblical Yavan and Japhet are firmly in the Greek tradition as well. Now this is awesome. This guy named Larry S. Milner. He's a historian. He wrote a book called Was Achilles a Jew? Yeah.
Well, he became one after his heel was screwed up. So,
People think he was a Danite.
Interesting.
So Milner points out many other similarities between Greek myth and the narratives of the Torah. So the Greek story of Orion, where his birth was a gift from 3 deities to an old childless couple, is nearly identical to the prophesied birth of Yitzhak, which came with the arrival of 3 angels. Key aspects of the tales of Odysseus resemble the adventures of Yaakov, while the legend of Orpheus and Eurydice is reminiscent of Lot and his wife. The abduction of Helen, leading to the destruction of Troy through an infamous ruse, is strangely similar to the abduction of Dinah, leading to the decimation of Shechem through an infamous ruse, and there are many more. So the Greeks held that the ancient heroes and founders, Danaus and Cadmus, originally came from Egypt. Milner posits and eloquently argues that Danaus and Cadmus were not Egyptians, but they were Hebrews who had been enslaved in Egypt. They escaped Egypt and settled in Greece. Their names have Semitic origins, and it is possible they were the ones that introduced the Semitic alphabet to the Greeks, as scholars have long ago concluded that the Greeks adapted their alphabet from the Semitic one. The only question among scholars is whether it was the Phoenicians or the Hebrews who introduced the alphabet to the Greeks. So Milner strongly argues on behalf of the Hebrews. Mm-hmm. Finally, he notes how ancient Greece was organized by an amphictyony, I never heard of, which is a league of neighbors that consisted of 12 city-states in a loose confederacy. Wow. The Amphicytoni, let's call them the Amphicytoni, all right? Tioni. So this system very closely mirrored the organization of and the relationship between the 12 tribes of Israel. In short, we find that not only did the Greeks adopt many of our biblical narratives and ideas, but even our ancient written language and political structure too. Okay, so in volume 1 of Garments of Light, I think that's the book that the blogger wrote. So he wrote, did the Jews really defeat the Greeks? Yeah. So we saw how Greece had a huge influence on Judaism. Now we see how tremendous an influence Judaism had on Greece. The two civilizations go hand in hand, and between them gave rise to the world we live in. Yeah. Indeed, this was prophesied by Noah, who blessed his sons. Quote, may God make Yefet great, and he will dwell in the tents of Shem. Yeah. That's Genesis chapter 9, verse 27. Shem is the earliest forefather of Israel, and Yefet of Greece. The two dwell in one tent. Okay, so on Hanukkah, we celebrate Jewish victory over the Seleucids, not of the Greeks as a whole, but of a relatively small faction of Syrians who adopted Greek culture, far from the Greek heartland, which enjoyed a good relationship with Israel, starting with Alexander the Great and through the Spartans and the Maccabees. Mm-hmm. That's the end of the post.
Interesting, man. Interesting.
So I just wanted to preview something. I'm not going to do it now, obviously. Mm-hmm. But so if you read the book, if you read Euclid, right, the principles or the principles of there's two different ways of the axioms, sometimes called the axioms of Euclid, or the principles of Euclid. That's like, Euclidean geometry, right? The most basic geometry. Yeah. So if you look at it, it's like it starts from one point, then a line connects to another point, right? Yeah. So he builds upon like expressing or describing the world around us in a mathematical, geometrical language. Yeah. The Vilna Gaon asked one of his students to actually translate that book into Hebrew and Yiddish to be taught with a couple of minor adjustments.
What was the name of the book?
I will find the name of the book. Okay. Don't recall at the top of my head. I'll find it. Please find it. You could actually probably look up the books of the Vilna Gaon, and you'll see. It's probably on Wikipedia, but I'll find it. Mm-hmm. So, upon studying that text, you can see essentially, and I can prove it, that those concepts came from the study of the Hebrew alphabet. Yeah. Is there a way I can take a break, or can we? Yeah, should we just? Can I call you back in 10 minutes?
Sure. You can do that.
Okay, cool. I'll call you back in 10 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, folks at home.
All good.
Before you continue saying what you're saying, we're recording now, but I'm gonna take your brothers. So I feel something kind of coming on, but Chas v'Shalom, whatever. I'm gonna take your brother's Z-Stack thing. Give me a second. It says 2 capsules. Okay. With food, I just ate something. Oh goodness.
Yeah, you might want it because some people get a little sensitive with the zinc.
No, it's fine.
So eat it with food.
By the way, in this pill, I don't even feel the zinc. But usually, when I take zinc separately, I do.
Oh, you mean you don't taste it, right? Yeah.
It's not even that I don't taste it. I just don't feel the effect of the zinc on my stomach as I would if I just took zinc.
I do. I feel it. I have to eat it. I have to eat it with a good meal.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to also take, as a precaution, good old ivermectin. Let's see here.
Do you know how to dose it?
Do I know? I mean, it's I went by weight, so I'm just taking the 12 milligram one by my weight, according to weight.
Well, it's zero. Honestly, you probably need a little bit of a higher dose.
Really?
Okay. The way to calculate it is, now this isn't exact, and obviously you have to speak to your healthcare provider, but I think the basic formula is 0.4 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. So translate.
Let's do pounds to kg. I'm about 175. So you're talking let's say 79 kilograms. So what is that?
Multiply that by 0.4, let's say. I think that's correct.
1 second. I hope that's correct. Hold on.
It is. It's close enough.
0.04, you mean? Or 0.4?
0.4.
I mean, so 0.4.
0.4,
Yeah. Times what? 79? That's 30. That's 31 grams.
Yeah.
Interesting. I just don't want to.
You should double your.
Hold on. You know what? Because I look at that FLCC, that organization here. Whatever.
I think their recommendation is even higher.
No. Theirs is here. Ivermectin. Okay. Pharmacies. Safety overview. 1 second. Studies. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, here you go. This is the PDF. 1 second. It has the dosages somewhere. Here we go. Come on, man. This is like live administration of. I've already taken it twice before. I've taken just a 12 milligram situation. Come on, man. What is this? Give me proms of it. Give me all kinds of proms.
I think I recall seeing their recommendation.
It's 0.2 mg per kilogram. So they do 0.2.
No, I don't think that's correct, dude.
I mean that's what they say in their PDF. That's in their thing. So
I saw it recently at something like 0.3 to 0.5.
Can you show me where you saw it? I just don't want to take too much. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm only gonna recommend what my brother recommends. So I'm gonna give you the recommendation from his website. So whatever, he's not in lockstep with the Frontline.
I hear. I mean, I'm just gonna. You know why I'm gonna take one? Because I only have 3 left. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I got you.
Just All right, Zat Hashem. Yeah. Fun times, huh? I told you where I got this ivermectin. This is the ivermectin that came in. Those millions of pills that came into the country. I mean, I know your brother said that HCQ came in like 2 million pills in March 2020, April 2020, whenever it was. But did ivermectin come in? I mean, this is from India, so I'm assuming this was the same shipment that came in also with that.
Ivermectin took off a couple of months later.
Yeah. You know where this comes from? I'll tell you exactly where this comes from. I got it in Israel from a friend.
Oh yeah.
And
from our cousins, huh?
Yeah. What? No, not from our cousins. He got it from our cousins. I got it from him. Jewish guy.
Yeah.
A division of, it's a company, GPP, marketed by GPP, a division of Laborate Pharmaceuticals, India. 308-309 Crown Heights. Sector 10, Rohini, Delhi. I mean, Crown Heights in Delhi, India. Crown Heights, India. Indian, IRO Lab 12. That's crazy, man.
I'm sure that's just a big coincidence.
Yeah, of course.
I'm positive God is not saying anything.
God's not saying anything in this case. Of course not. Of course not. Verstees, sir? Verstees?
Can I tell you something? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That this is just for our Lubavitchers in the audience, or really for anybody who's not a jerk.
Yeah. Anybody who's not a total dick.
Yeah. Okay, so I got a little incredible. To me, it's absolutely astounding.
In the words of Rabbi Kessin, it's astounding. It's so astounding. Obama and Trump, astounding.
Right. I wouldn't say this to Rabbi Kessin because I don't think, it would shatter his vessel. I'm not going to shatter somebody's vessel, okay? Yeah. I need that guy to function.
Yeah, right?
So, hold on. This is something that I heard that I was not authorized to give over. So please don't judge. I heard this from Rabbi Reuven Wolf. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm giving it over correctly. I think that I am. Okay? So do not judge him based on what you're hearing from me, but I will try to do it justice.
Yeah.
Okay. In Parashat Vayishlach, chapter 35, verse 21, it says, Vayisa Israel Vayad Ahalo. I can't see it, so small. Oh, there it is. Meholo le Migdal Eder. So it means that it's talking about Jacob. He pitched his tent beyond a place called Migdal Eder. Okay? So seemingly a very kind of like, unnecessary statement, or just kind of like a very, very kind of like unimportant little, sometimes the Torah writes stuff and it's just like, all right, like why did we need to know that? So every little statement, every little dot, every little dash in the Torah is packed with infinite meaning and encodes infinite godliness. But here's what Targum Yonatan ben Uziel says about this. By the way, Targum Yonatan ben Uziel, he's our oldest commentary on the Torah.
Do you know how many times I've davened that is kever? For Shidduch, Yonatan ben Uziel? That's the same. Yeah. That's the Yonatan ben Uziel, right?
I don't. Well, I don't know. Do people go to? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they go to his kever for here. Yeah.
Yonatan ben Uziel. He lived more than 2,000 years ago. Yeah. And he wrote a Targum. Yeah. In those days, the commentary was called the Targum. Where he wrote basically a translation of the Torah in the Aramaic of his time, which is not really a translation; it's a commentary.
Yeah. Yeah, can I just read a quick one of the 80 Tanaim who studied under Hillel, the elder, during the time when Roman ruled Judea. A book of Kabbalah known as Sefer Migdanim has been attributed to him. Is mentioned in several times in the Talmud. Yonatan rendered an Aramaic translation of the major and minor prophets, which still survives today. When he wished to procure a translation of the Ketuvim, a divine voice, a bat call was heard telling him that what he had done was sufficient for humanity. The rabbis have taught Hillel the elder had 80 disciples, 30 of whom were worthy of that the divine presence, the Shekhinah, rest upon them, like Moses our masters. 30 of whom were worthy that the sun stand still for them, like Yeshua ben Nun. 20 of whom were average. The greatest of them all was Yonatan ben Uziel. The least of them was all Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai. They said about Yonatan ben Uziel that in the hour that he would sit and study Torah, any bird flying over him would straightaway be incinerated. Yeah, supposedly he never married. That's why people daven at his what's it called?
Hang on. The thing with the bird, that's agadic. That's a midrashic idea. And the bird is less likely to be a bird and more likely to be an angel.
Yeah. So check this out. According to tradition, the tomb of Ben Uziel is located in Amuka. I've been there like 8 times. Like, mamash. It's not easy to get to. According to Zav Vilnai, Rabbi Shmuel ben Shimshon wrote about the tomb in 1210. There is a large tree next to it, and the Ishmaelites bring oil and light a candle in his honor to make vows in his honor.
An illustration of Yonatan ben Uziel's tomb appears in Ancestry of the Fathers and Prophets, a book printed in 1537. It is customary to visit Ben Uziel's tomb on Rosh Chodesh, the first day of the lunar month, and on 26th of Sivan, his yahrzeit, although visitors arrive all year round. The practice that began in the 17th century was to pray at the gravesite for a good marriage partner, for children, satisfaction from one's children, livelihood, parnasa, health, and happiness. Many unmarried men and women pray there for a match. Doing so is considered a segula, propitious remedy for finding one's mate within the coming year. I mean, I've been doing that since like 2016 over there. So this is the longest year ever, I gotta say. The practice developed from the pseudo-Yonatan translation of the Bible on Deuteronomy, where he writes that anyone who prevents the connection between a husband and wife forfeits his portion in the world to come. The practice is based on a mistaken reading of Rashi, who writes in reference to a place called Harpania. Everyone goes there, all ineligible men, psulim who cannot find a woman, turn and go there. And it is deeper, amuka, and the worse than Gehenna. The words, and it is deeper, amuka, are the head words to Rashi's next comment, do not relate to his preceding comment about men going to Harpania to look for women. However, the mistaken reading connects Rashi's words to the community named Amuka. Interesting. It is also widely believed that Yonatan ben Uziel was single or childless, so men in similar situations seek to benefit from his special powers, but nowhere in the writings of Chazal is this stated. So this is kind of like legends.
Yeah.
But people, they've been going there, and it's been working, supposedly, allegedly.
Well, maybe, but now I have to start my whole thing over again.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I just wanted to tell people. I just wanted to tell people where about the single scene in this, that they can go to a tomb and walk around the top of the roof 7 times. So they should know that. Anyway,
I think that people get carried away with these segulot, and true. I'm not sure.
It's true.
If these segulot are effective for everyone, because you find, like, when you learn about the segulot, there's all these like conditions that it'll work unless this, or and it seems like I fall into every one of those categories where I'm not qualified to benefit from any of these segulot.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that the best thing to do is just to have a moment with God. Just have a legitimate, genuine moment with God. No angels, no rabbis, nothing.
I know.
But this is, I heard this from Rabbi Wolf, which is to me incredible. So this is chapter. This is Vayishlach, chapter 35, verse 21. It says, "Vayisa Yisrael." Vayat, and Israel traveled. Israel meaning Jacob traveled. Vayet, and he threw up a halah, his tent. He pitched his tent. May halah, okay, lemigdal Eder, beyond Migdal Eder. Eder.
Yeah.
So Yonatan ben Uziel on this.
Sorry.
And he says, and Jacob proceeded and spread his tent beyond the tower of Eder, the place from where it is to be the King Mashiach will be revealed at the end of days. So the oldest commentary we have to this verse is about Mashiach being revealed in that spot. And the spot, by the way, is not specified. It's saying that it's some place beyond a specified place. You understand? It didn't say at Migdal Eder. It said beyond Migdal Eder, whatever that means. Okay. Migdal Eder is a place. It means the tower of the sheep. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so what's interesting is that the gematria of that pasuk is 1,215.
Interesting.
Please, I beg everybody to check this out. I mean, to do your own math. Okay. Now, what's interesting is that when you hear the word Ohel compared, in relation to Mashiach, what a Lubavitcher is going to think, right? And I believe rightly so. Okay.
Yeah.
So check this out. Gimel Tammuz, Tav Shin, Nun Dalet.
Mm-hmm.
The gematria of that is 1,215. I'll just leave it at that. Let people make the connections. You know, like whoever's going to make the connections will make the connections. That's it.
Interesting. Okay. By the way, I just wanted to say, you mentioned Rocky Marciano at the top
Rocky
of the program.
Marciano.
Yeah.
Rocky Marciano.
There they go.
Some white man got to say Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano.
There they go. There they go. Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out there. Rocky Marciano.
He whooped Joe Lewis's ass.
He beat Joe Lewis's ass. He didn't beat no. He's like, Joe Lewis at 130
years old.
He's 137 years old when we fought him. He's
I
like,
don't know how old he is, but he got his ass whooped.
he's like, F you, and if you. Who's next?
Who's next?
Best scene in the movie, man. Best scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Mighty Shark.
Mighty Sharp.
Mighty Shark. Yeah.
He's like, you got a good girl. You gotta go to church. You gotta go to the library. He's like, you can't go to a bar. He's like, you gotta go. He's like, there are good girls there.
That's where I'm going. Shit.
Yeah, that's why I'm going tonight. You should join. Yeah, you should come along. He's like, is it over the center. He's like, I love how the girl's like, Daddy, I'm not mentioning the restaurant.
Yeah.
Daddy.
He was at least mentioning the fries.
The milkshake.
The address. No, what do you say? At least mentions the address.
Yeah.
She goes, no.
He's like, that's the third time we've been hit this week. I guess he won't be coming back thanks to our African connection. It's like, it shows like the rift between like black American people and Africans. You know?
Yeah.
It's messed up, man. He's like, you diseased rhinoceros pizzle.
Yeah.
What a movie, man. What a movie. What a flippin' movie.
Magic.
I saw that when I was 8 years old or 7 years old. I was like, this is just a masterpiece.
Do you remember right in the beginning of the movie when they were bringing the girl that he was supposed to marry and they had that whole dance troupe?
Yeah.
That track, by the way, like if I was ever a DJ, I would have to sample that.
It's sick.
And that was produced by Nile Rodgers. Remember I keep telling you about this producer, Nile Rodgers?
That track was produced by him? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
All the music, not all of it, but most of the music in that movie, especially, you know the music when he came, when the king came.
That's what a King's Motorcade.
Yeah, they had that like intense music,
like that.
It's awesome.
It's so like majestic.
Yeah,
magisterial.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, let's see. Coming to America, the system.
I know a guy. I know a guy a long time ago who was he's actually a half Russian, half Polish dude. Not a Jewish guy from Chicago. He's a friend of my cousin's, and he was going out with the royal penis is clean sire.
What, the girl?
Yes, the girl.
Oh my goodness. What's it? Oh my god. She's like a servant in them. What's her?
I don't know. Let's not get into it. I just wanted to say.
Let's not break. Yeah, don't go into that.
Memory.
What do you call it? The wormhole? Not the wormhole.
That's the Event Horizon big time, man.
Yeah.
You ain't coming back from that. Don't go there, people. Please. I regret saying anything. Damn.
Yeah.
Guys, you know what the premise of this show is? This isn't really a show. You have in Israel, you have Baal Tshuva yeshivas, right?
Yeah.
And this is a conversation in the dorm room.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is.
That's the whole premise.
About like their like stuff from like their former. Dude, I used to talk to a guy in my yeshiva. He was a Jew from Hungary, and he became already. He was at that point when we were roommates. He was already in the top shiur of the yeshiva, and like ostensibly Haredi guy. But we're sitting there talking about George Soros and how much he hates George Soros, and he's telling me everything about Soros and why the guy is based, and I knew about Soros, but I didn't know like so, you know. And he's telling me he's like this guy. You know, that's all we like. We spoke about Soros and like everything that Soros is doing, and how he's like a mullik. And this like Hungarian Jewish guy is saying how like all the Hungarian Jews can't stand him. A lot of Hungarians can't stand him, but the Jews in Hungary cannot stand Soros. Soros, that's it. Soros.
Yeah, you know, it's like you have this like group of supposed Jews that no Jews know or can stand.
Yeah.
George Soros being with them. The other one was this lady that they were talking about all the time. Some lady with the last name Spector. You know what I'm talking about? There's what's her name? Barbara Spector or something like that.
What is she? She's from America?
Exactly. Nobody knows who the hell she is. But all the anti-Semites all over when I was going to war with everybody on Discuss.
Okay.
You know, like on
yeah.
Right? When I was Reish Lakish, right?
Yeah.
So basically, you know, like, Barbara Spector said this and Barbara Spector said that. That proves the Jews are trying to destroy the world. I'm like,
hold on. Barbara Spector is an academic philosophy lecturer with the founding director of Paideia, European Institute of Jewish Studies in Sweden. Is this the later woman you're talking about?
I don't know.
A non-denominational academic institute established in 2001.
There was a clip of her saying that, you know, this was concerning the Muslim invasion of Europe, right?
Yeah.
So apparently, because she said that it was a good thing, so obviously she's the one who orchestrated it, not Madam Hitler right now, who's Angela Merkel. She didn't have anything to do with that.
Madam Hitler. Well, you know that, like, listen, Obama was seen coming off a plane with carrying the book, you know, Fareed Zakaria's book, A Post-American Century or something like that. So
God, I'd like to introduce these people to a bucket.
Here, Post-American. No, it's not Fareed Zakaria. I'm sorry. No, hold on. Was it Post-American? Oh, give me a second. Post-American. Ay. Can't type. Yeah, Post-American World by Fareed Zakaria. And he's now the SCNN guy, the one that's like, you know. Here, what is the book about? I mean, you could it's self-explanatory. No. Oh, this is not a book about the decline of America, but rather about the rise of everyone else. So begins Fareed Zakaria's important new work on the era we are now entering. Following in the success of his best-selling The Future of Freedom, Zakaria describes with equal prescience a world in which the United States will no longer dominate the global economy, orchestrate geopolitics, overwhelm cultures. So this is what we're talking about, this whole like chauvinism. He sees the rise of the rest, the growth of countries like China, India, Brazil, Russia, and many others. It's a great story of our time and one that will reshape the world. The tallest buildings, the biggest dams, largest selling movies, most advanced cell phones are all being built outside the United States. This economic growth is producing political confidence, national pride, and potentially international problems. How should the United States understand and thrive in this rapidly changing international climate? What does it mean to live in a truly global era? Zakaria answered these questions. It's a globalist nonsense. What this schmuck doesn't understand is that, like, it's not like if America.
It's the most shallow understanding.
Yeah, it's a shallow understanding.
Rising.
Yeah, of rising, and also like if America would actually do what it's can potentially do, like it was doing under Trump, actually for a couple of years at least, then these rises that Brazil, China, all that kind of stuff that are having would pale in comparison. And I'm not even talking about America. America doesn't even have to go to war. America doesn't have to go to other countries, send troops. You know, they could do it the way Trump is doing it, just being kind of semi-isolationist, and it will just like dwarf everybody else. We have the potential to dwarf everybody else.
I'm so tired of this living nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't. It's it feels like a true cruelty.
Yeah.
He gave 4 years of Trump.
Yeah.
And then back to this filthy, disgusting darkness. It almost feels like I wish we didn't have the 4 years of Trump. That tease.
Yeah.
It was like a tease.
Yeah. Like I told you before, man,
like,
you almost wish.
It's such a cruel thing.
You almost wish you never got into a relationship with somebody, and then it's like and then it ends. You know, it's a cruel thing.
This is such a.
It's a really horrible thing.
I hate people who say, "Oh, interesting time." Fuck you.
But that's
boring and tragic.
Yeah.
Horror, boredom, and tragedy.
Yeah.
Not interesting.
Horror, boredom. But it's not boring. If it's anything but boring, I'll tell
boring.
you that.
It's
I don't
boring.
know, I'm not bored.
It's nauseating and boring.
Nauseating, yes. Boring, definitely not. I don't know. At least recently.
Challenges are not. They're not fascinating. No, they're not. Not ones that deal with death and misery. That's not fun. That's not an opportunity. I'm sick of hearing that shit.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
So here's my question. Here's my question to you. What about the people that you see or you meet who allegedly, supposedly, I'm not saying they don't have problems. They do have problems. Everybody's got problems, right? But ostensibly, it's like, what do they call it? Living their best life kind of deal?
Ugh.
Or are they living in an illusion, or are they actually dafka living their best life?
Explain. Be a little more specific.
I guess I'm talking about. I don't know. I'm being a schmuck right now. All the people you see on social media, on these vacations,
Look, the only kind of thing like that I would accept as living your best life is: are you spending your time minimizing suffering of people and living creatures? If you're not spending all your time doing that, you're a sack of shit. You're living your best life is garbage, is nothing.
Yeah.
Are you making there's creatures, there's a dog, there's a person. I didn't mean to put that in that order. I believe that people are our priority over animals, okay? Okay, you guys, okay, relax there.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, right? Like right away, oh, this guy puts it.
Yeah.
I'm not PETA. Relax.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even PETA treats them like crap.
PETA is not PETA, by the way.
Yeah, no. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we talked about that. But basically, point is, there's a living creature somewhere that's suffering.
Yep.
Okay. There's a child. Are you doing something? I'm not saying that I'm that kind of person. But I'm not gonna, unless I do that, I'm not gonna say I'm living my best life.
Yeah.
Okay? People living their best lives. It's like new age psychobabble, like self-involved.
Yeah. What do you call it? Some what is it? More, what's his name? No. Norm Macdonald. What did he call it?
Oh no! He was talking about Jash, right? The comedy, the comedy gobbledygook. He said that about what Sarah Silverman said, but this is new age, psychobabble gobbledygook. Exactly, better than what I said. Yeah. That's a better vessel. I can use that now because of how funny Norm Macdonald made it, so I can feel that.
Yeah.
Good idea. Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah.
That's a good vessel of expression.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So I wanted to read something else, which I think would just be interesting. I don't have a segue into it.
And we can finish. We can wrap up with that. I guess if you're cool with that.
I'm cool with anything.
Good.
So check this out. All right. So this is Secrets of the Ark of the Covenant, commentary to Parshat Terumah, by Harav Ariel Bar Tzadok. Okay. This is very, very, very interesting. I like that. Okay. So I'm gonna try to read as close as I can. Okay. Now the Ark of the Covenant is gone, lost in time, concealed throughout the ages, until the one who hid it comes again to reveal it. There is an interesting legend told in ancient Merkava literature that when the Ark was secreted out of Jerusalem by the hands of the Levium, the Levites, right, they took it far away to a place that cannot be mentioned. Yeah. There, they were met by a group of angels called the Bnei Elohim. These angels took possession of the ark from the Levium, and they were charged to hold it and guard it until such time when their master in heaven commanded them to return it to earth, or the surface of the earth, I should say more closely. Those today who are seeking to find the lost ark will search in vain, for it is nowhere to be found anywhere on the, he says the planet Earth, but it should actually be the surface of the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
The Gemara, Yoma, that's the name of one of the volumes of Gemara.
Yeah.
Talmud. So Yoma, however, does mention to us a little known secret. There were actually two arks made. One was made by Moshe, and the later one was made by Bezalel. The earlier one, made by Moshe, held the tablets of the commandments until such time when Bezalel's ark was completed. Then Bezalel's ark took over as the ark, the main ark, and Moshe's ark was dedicated to be the ark of war. It was Moshe's ark that went out into battle before the Israelite army, sending forth some type of energy that struck dead its foes before it. Whatever happened to this ark, we have no record. Perhaps this ark is buried under the Temple Mount. Perhaps it is in Ethiopia, or perhaps it is buried in a cave somewhere out in the Negev. Until it is found, we will never know. Okay. One thing is for certain, Moshe's ark, as powerful as it was, still was not as powerful as Bezalel's ark. Bezalel's ark was unique, designed by the hand of God to reflect the image of the heavenly ark. We are taught that Bezalel was granted special wisdom, specifically the knowledge of the primordial creative forces in the universe. That's the forces from Olam HaTohu, by the way. He apparently needed this knowledge to construct the ark. If the ark was a mere box of wood and gold, however, beautiful or artistically intricate it might be, he would not have needed to have such advanced technological information. Yet such information was vital for the ark's construction. What exactly Bezalel was taught and what technological secrets were used to build the ark, we may never know until the ark's return. The only insight that we have is what we have already said. Bezalel was a master of the creative arts found in the Sefer Yetzirah, and that he used what he knew to build what he did. Why and how and for what purpose is information that may be lost to us currently. The Ark of the Covenant was by no means a mere box of wood and gold. The cherubim, the angels that are on the ark, were much more than a mere pretty decoration. We are taught that when the divine presence filled the ark, the cherubim on top came alive. Whoa. Their wings were in a state of movement, opening and closing. Turning statues of gold into living creatures is certainly a feat worthy of the Sefer Yetzirah, but Bezalel did not bring them to life. The Shekhinah did, divine presence. Bezalel merely provided the body. God provided the soul. Yet, we should ask, were the bodies of the cherubim magically animated, or was there more to this construction that we know of? Was there some element of creation technology learned from the Sefer Yetzirah used here? We may never know, but judging logically, we can conclude in the affirmative. We are taught that the ark below was formed in the image of the ark above. In essence, one ark communicated with the other. Now, modern sages are of the unsubstantiated opinion that all spiritual reality is absolutely non-corporeal. Being that none of these sages have ever had any personal experience with any reality of these alternate dimensions, we cannot rely on their conjecture as having any validity. This still does not mean that there is anything what we would call physical in heaven, but still the ark below was built in the image of the ark above. Therefore, there is such an image and such a reality, which is far more than mere symbolism. Let me compare it to what today we know as computerized virtual reality and holographic imagery. If we were to don a virtual reality helmet and actually place ourselves in a computer game, Are we physically there inside the computer game? Of course not. Yet, to the computer-generated, artificially intelligent characters in the computer game, we are no different from them, with only one exception. Our program is not the same as theirs. We can come and go into and out of the virtual reality computer game anytime we want. The characters inside the program cannot. If those characters had any type of artificial intelligence, they might interpret our coming and going as something miraculous. Indeed, they might hypothesize that we take on forms just to be in their world and then disappear into formlessness, which they would consider to be our natural state. Yet such formlessness is not our natural state. Rather, it is a state of transition that we pass through when we take off the virtual reality suit and come back into our real world, a world that the computer characters cannot possibly conceive of. Next time you think of anything referred to in Torah as above, remember this example. It will help you better understand the nature of our two worlds. The ark, therefore, was built in accordance to a pattern that would coincide with an already pre-existing ark in what we call heaven. No one can say for sure what its actual makeup might be. Maybe someday we will know. Then again, maybe not. All that we can learn is that there is an alternative reality, which we call heaven, and that it plays a very important role in what transpires here in our reality.
And it's got nothing to do with Indiana Jones, right?
Nothing to do with it at all.
And that melting Nazi.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I think that's based on something. But the ark, we like a melting Nazi. So the ark, as we know, was a communications device. The ark was a communications device. It allowed a certain properly prepared individual, the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, to make a connection with heaven and to communicate openly. However, the nature of this communication was far different from our modern technological means. The ark was by no means a radio or telephone. The nature of the earth to heaven communication required many things. First, the properly prepared individual, the Kohen Hagadol, the high priest, had to be of a specific refined character. He was prohibited certain behaviors and required to perform others. These were no mere moral commandments. Each of the laws of the high priest was specifically designed to alter him down to the genetic level. Psychologically and even biologically, the high priest was prepared from the youngest age to take on his responsibilities, as being the only one on earth who could place the long-distance call to heaven. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just what type of transformations the high priest went through cannot be publicly elaborated at this point. The high priest would approach the ark in a very precise way. He certainly did not approach it alone. He was required to wear the mysterious Urim and Tumim, along with the Hoshen Mishpat, which is the breastplate of judgment. Inside the Hoshen was a secret pocket. Inside the pocket was the Urim placed. No one knows for sure exactly what the Urim were. Actually, I don't agree with him, but anyway, we are taught that it had the holy names of God written upon it. But this description is more of a non-description. It really does not tell us anything about the actual construction of the Urim or the Tumim. All the more so, the nature of their operations and function. These are lost in history, as is the ark. Not true, but okay. In order to receive communication, the high priest had to approach the ark wearing the Urim, Tumim, and Hoshen. Meaning, it's not, what I said not true, was that it's lost to history. He thinks it is, but it's actually not. Okay. In order to receive communication, the high priest had to approach the ark wearing the Urim, Tumim, and Hoshen Mishpat. He was then to contemplate his question. Apparently, no verbal communication was necessary. The communication between the high priest and the ark was apparently telepathic. So it wasn't really the ark. He was communicating with Hashem that was using the ark as a communication device. But anyway, so he was then okay. So here's the process one more time. Sorry, he contemplated the question, okay, and there is no verbal communication necessary. The communication between the high priest and Hashem through the ark was apparently telepathic. He thought his question, and somehow the ark understood and transmitted the message. Receiving the response is when things got very interesting. As the high priest was meditating, or should we more accurately say telepathically communicating, or through the ark, it's basically a technological device.
Yeah,
okay?
for sure.
So communicating with the, through the ark, strange things began to happen. Now this is awesome. For anybody who's ever seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, this should sound familiar. The stones on the Hoshin would begin to light up. Okay, each stone had a different color. Yeah. So the stones would begin to light up. Specific letters, specific stones would begin to glow, and a strange high-pitched whining would come from them. It made a sound.
What the heck?
Anyone watching such as untrained priests, untrained Kohanim, or the king would not be able to decipher anything from these lights and sounds. Yet, there were trained Kohanim whose job it was to record everything that was happening. They transcribed which lights lit up and in what order. They apparently had some insight into the meanings of the whining sounds and somehow recorded them too. Yeah. After it was all over, it was time to decipher heaven's response to the telepathic communicate from the high priest. Okay. Now, one thing was certain. The lights that lit up and the letters that glowed never spelled out anything that would be intelligible to anybody observing besides people that know how to decode it. So the message was, from our rational point of view, garbled. It seemed like a garbled mixture of letters and sounds. Yeah. So the key to their decipherment, like Bitzalel before them, the priests, they were trained in the usage of the Sefer Yetzirah. Yeah. Through the sounds, they could...
Written by Avram Avinu, right?
It was actually... I heard that it was actually written, or it was transmitted by the Malach Raziel to Adam, who then transmitted it all the way down until it got to Avraham, and then Avraham, I guess, compiled it, elaborated it, and apparently it was a giant encyclopedia, and the parts that we have of it, the Sefer Yetzirah, is just it's like a chapter or a couple of chapters. Yeah, not even a full volume of the original Sefer Yetzirah. Yeah. So they apparently So the Kohanim, whose job it was to record everything, what was happening, they transcribed. Yeah. The priests were trained in the usage of the Sefer Yetzirah. Through the sounds, they could intuit the proper order of the letters. They knew how to form them into rational words and sentences. The communication apparatus worked just fine. However, without the proper interpreters, the message would not be decipherable. The ark, therefore, only worked in conjunction with the Urim, Tumim, and Hoshen. One was incomplete without the other. This was the power of Bezalel's ark over that of Moshe's ark. Moshe's ark had the power, but Bezalel's ark was the telephone device to communicate with heaven. So it is no wonder then, as we entered into the historical period of exile, that the ark, along with the Urim, Tumim, and Hoshen, were concealed. Our direct communication with heaven was disconnected. This also explains why prophecy came to an end soon afterwards. Yeah. All prophecy channeled to the earth was through the ark. Once the ark was taken off the earth, or off the surface of the earth, the means to make contact was broken. Granted, other lower forms of contact are still possible, but these are with the angels and never with the divine presence directly. Over the centuries, even the lower forms of communication, like through the angels, that's also been lost, except to a very few people, to a chosen few. Like the priests of old, those today who know the secrets of angelic communication guard well both their secrets and their identities. What they know is not for prying eyes or for curious fools. When the time comes and the period of exile grinds to its end, the lines of communication will again be opened, first with the angels and eventually again directly with the divine presence. We should not concern ourselves about the mysteries to be revealed in the future. We have enough to consider and to contemplate today. Here's his moral rant. There are still many secrets within Torah and within its words and letters that we can extract and use today. Long ago, our sages revealed that the entire Torah is one holistic communication from God. In other words, we say that the entire Torah is one long name of God. Its original form is not broken up into words and sentences. It was just a block of letters. Therefore, which are in the same order as we have it now, except they weren't, they were all just like together. There was no space. Therefore, when we come to study the Torah, we are not limited to that framework of reading. So when I say the block of letters, by the way, remember what they did when they did the Torah codes, when they put the Torah on a disc and they used the scanning technology to look for words, and spaces and gaps and intervals, right? So they took the Torah as we have it and removed the spaces. That's actually how the Torah was received. That's it. The end. I think Greg is sleeping again.
No, I'm not. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, right. I heard you snoring there. Bro.
What I'm wondering.
You're making sounds.
What I'm wondering is like.
You're like Stella.
No, listen.
I heard you screaming.
I met a guy. Well, I ran into a guy that I know yesterday at the Rabbi YY Jacobson event, and he's a Baal Tshuva guy who works in virtual reality apps. And I brought up to him, and I said to him, there's a difference between guys like you, or guys like us working with that stuff, who understand what's really going on, versus people like Mark and other people like him working on, Oculus Rift and taking it to the dark side. And he kind of like nodded his head. He's like, listen, at the end of and then he goes to me, but he goes, Mark really, because this guy develops a VR, it's like you can go into a room and stuff like that, into a museum. And he goes to me, Mark really helped me. It was like free advertising. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, the Sitra Achra can sometimes actually help, quote unquote, help the Kedusha, the Kedusha side.
Not consciously.
Not consciously. Like you said, it's way ahead of the game usually, Or like, what do you usually use? It's not way ahead of the game. You say, what?
The Sitra Achra gets it first.
It gets it first, yeah. So it got it first, and then. But the question is, what are they getting? They're not really getting anything.
That's from Rabbi Kessin. He made that.
Yeah.
That's the way he said it. That's why I got it from him. So, remember when we went for a break? I needed a 10-minute break to the cat.
Yeah.
We were reading that, the Greek story.
Yeah, the Spartans and all that.
I wanted to. I actually made an animation. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, I'm the least tech savvy person that you'll ever meet. Mm-hmm. Who's under, who's 40 and under.
Yeah.
So somehow I found this like animation software that was like free. I just downloaded it. I think it's called Pencil or something.
Yeah.
And I used it.
This is for a computer or for a phone?
This is for the computer, on the computer.
Okay.
And I used it to make a little cartoon or a little movie that graphically depicts what we were talking about, how the Euclidean geometry was derived from the study of the Hebrew letters.
Yeah. Cool. Where, is this posted? I was gonna say, is this posted anywhere, or you just have it in your?
I didn't post it because I was in the middle of making it, and then COVID struck, and then never had time to get back to it. So, but I made enough of it to get to at least you could see the point.
There's what to work with. Yeah. Interesting. Interested to see that.
I'll send it to you.
Cool. So What do we wrap up with? I mean, we're like, I guess we can.
What do we wrap up
what
with?
can the listeners take away? What can listeners take away on this Thanksgiving? It's still technically, well, actually, no, it's not Thanksgiving anymore. It's
it's still technically Thanksgiving.
it's the Shabbat before Hanukkah.
So what can we take away from today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's episode 20. Let's see, can we make something up with 20?
It is episode 20.
Kaf, right? Episode Kaf. Kaf, Kaf means the palm of your hand, the cup.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the cup, where you. So.
Yeah.
The cup of your hand, Kaf.
Mm-hmm.
What can you take away in the cup of your hand from this discussion? I don't know. Okay, but I'm looking at the Gateway Pundit right now, and I see a nice headline.
Okay.
I see two headlines right next to each other that are perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The one that says there are now 365 studies.
Yeah, I saw that.
The efficacy of ivermectin.
Your brother posted that in his Telegram group, by the way.
Great.
Yeah.
Right. In treating COVID-19, will anyone confront Schmalzi and the Schmedical Schmelites on their deception? Okay. So now the next article that's right next to it is Marine to sue Walmart for refusing to fill his ivermectin prescription. That's awesome.
Yeah. Listen, it can't be that the people saying this doesn't work. It can't be that the doctors are prescribing this are stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, it cannot be. It simply cannot be.
Entire district of India, a region, a state in India, has cured COVID just with ivermectin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with the use of the protocol, so not just ivermectin.
Yeah.
Okay. It's insane that when will this Sitra Achra just die? I just want to see it shrivel up.
Yeah.
I don't even want to see it shrivel up. I don't care. I just want it to disappear. Just fine. I don't. Here's what I'd like to say. People talk about like justice, right?
Yeah.
If God gave me like an offer saying like, I'll bring Mashiach right now, immediately remove death and agony and pain from the world, right? But you can't. But you won't get to see your enemies receive justice. I would take it.
Yeah, for sure.
I would take that offer.
Of course.
I don't care about them getting justice. I want the death to go away and the agony to stop.
Yeah.
That's way more important than these schmucks receiving.
Yeah.
Seeing them receive justice. I hope they disappear. I don't care what happens to them.
Yeah. Yeah. So we should have miracles, man. That's what I take away. We should have miracles. B'ezrat Hashem.
It just occurred to me.
Even miracles in our personal lives. Oh, sorry.
It just occurred to me. I need another 15 seconds to put a cap on this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cup.
Yeah.
Connection. Interesting connection. All right, so check this out. The pilgrims, right? They came here, and first of all, who are they? People who thought that they were Ephraimites. They thought that they were tribe members of Ephraim. Okay, they came here because they wanted to live a biblical life, specifically, what they would call Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they wanted to have God be their ruler, before the establishment of kings, right?
Yeah.
And they just wanted to be agrarian, live off the land, and they had a lot of very Israelite ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they first got to America, the financiers who sent them on the Mayflower, right? They were communists.
Yeah.
Because remember, communism was way before Marx. Communism came from Plato.
It's crazy.
Okay. So the financiers wanted them to establish a communist society. That communism caused half of them to die.
Yeah.
and they realized it wasn't working. Because people who didn't have incentive to work, they didn't work. And only some people worked. They didn't have enough food. And a lot of other problems occur, obviously, from the stupid, horrible, disgusting, filthy, idiotic ideas of communism. Okay,
Yeah.
when they established the idea that everybody has to pull their own weight and everybody has to try to, to contribute, and those who are for whatever reason lacking, right? As long as they're trying, then the culture makes up for it, and the people, the communities help that person because they see he's not loafing around. He tried, and it didn't work out. So that's when the community comes in to help. Okay, so that worked. Okay, so we have a bunch of Europeans who believe themselves to be Israelites, which they probably are.
Yeah.
Coming to America to try to create a country where there's no king and God is the king.
Yeah.
Discovering that communism will kill everyone, and that the the American style, where the constitutional democratic republic.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, what a name! What a name!
Right, it's not democracy. It's a democratic republic. That system is the correct way to be. Okay, so I think that's what we can take away from the Thanksgiving episode of Let's Be Greg.
What? Is that what it's going to be called? Are you trying to embarrass me?
No. I was just. It's hard to say. I was about to say Let's Be Frank, but I was like, oh man, that sounds really douchey. I just changed it to your name.
Yeah, but Let's Be Frank, we're actually being frank,
Yeah.
That's the whole double meaning. With my thing, there is no double meaning. There's just two names.
It's only cool. It's only cool if you say it. If I say it, something's wrong.
Let's be Greg. Let's be Greg. Let's do imitations of Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I told you about my boss, right? My ex-boss, the Chinese guy.
Yeah, you said randomly. You were talking to me about something, and you're like, my ex-boss is Taiwanese. I'm like, what?
No, because I mentioned about the somebody liked my impression of my ex-boss, and I said he's from Taiwan. My Chinese man impression, specifically of my ex-boss, who used to drive to work, despite being able to afford having an actual Mercedes and or BMW, but driving to work to Flushing, Queens in a beat up, or whatever, an old Cutlass. And then saying to us, you have to be inconspicuous possible. He's like, yo, I'm a Chinese mafia here. You know what happened to me? I get killed. I have to be he's like, these guys, 28, 21 years old, make a couple bucks. They start buying Mercedes, BMW. It's just stupid. You have to be as inconspicuous possible.
He's right, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. He eventually lost his SEC, whatever it was, his FINRA license. That's a whole other story. He wasn't terribly inconspicuous in that moment, leading up to that. But
nobody's perfect. He had the right idea.
Yeah, sure.
While it lasted.
Baruch Hashem. A bunch of guys made some money, and that was that. At least
be inconspicuous.
At least we're not like JT Marlin.
Don't break down my shitty wall.
Don't break. He's like, Mongolians. Oh, Mongolian people. Shh. Mongolians are eating Mongolian beef. So stupid. He's like, do you want to? The Butters comes in. Do you want to take out the new Asian restaurant, City Sushi? He's like, what the F? What are you doing here? It's hilarious.
Well, what was Butters? He had his persona, Captain Chaos. Or was it Dr. Chaos?
I think it was Captain Chaos, one of these guys. I think. I'm not sure. We could talk about that next week. Not next week. Maybe tomorrow. Not tomorrow.
You wanted to flood the world with the garden hose, remember?
Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway.
Alrighty. Yeah, man.
Alright, sir. It's been real. And
yes, sir.
We could talk right before Hanukkah or on Hanukkah. On Sunday.
We could could do a Hanukkah episode.
Yeah.
Sounds good, brother.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Good Shabbos to all the folks at home.
Yes.
And to you.
Shabbat shalom. All right. Peace.
Take care.